right. Welcome to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners General Session agenda for July 18th. As a reminder, this is a public meeting. It's being recorded. So if you please ensure that your line is muted for those that are calling in. Appreciate it. This morning we will begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Crowley.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. As all of you will know, there's an election underway right now in this community and across the state. Ohioans are voting on a proposed amendment to our state constitution that would make it harder for them to change the constitution in the future. And as we do with all elections, I want to encourage every resident of Franklin County to get out and vote and to educate themselves on this proposal and to be sure to vote in this important election. You can vote early, by mail or in person, or you can vote in person on August 8th. I encourage you to visit vote.franklincountyohio.gov to learn about, one, requesting an absentee ballot, voting it early or in person, and how to find your polling place, and how we also volunteer to work at the polls. We're also pleased to have with us today a guest who is retiring after many years of service to Franklin County residents, where our motto is every resident, every day, and it's that spirit that Jackie Dickinson certainly embodies. For much of her more than 30 years in civil service, Jackie Dickinson has been committed to providing justice-involved residents with the tools that they need for a fresh start and working diligently to ensure that they receive a second chance to be successful in the community. I understand that Deputy County Administrator Joy Bivens is here to say a few words about Ms. Dickinson and her career and to help us present Jackie with a ceremonial resolution.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, county administration. I am Joy Bivens. I am the Deputy County Administrator of Health and Human Services for Franklin County. It is an honor to speak on behalf of Jackie Dickinson today. I also sit on Jackie's board appointed by the judges, but I'm going to say a few words, Jackie, so everyone understands your background. And if you could come to the podium, because we're going to allow you to say a few words. I'm going to be a minute, though, so whenever you want to come. Okay? You can come right now. Yeah, you can come right now. For the viewing audience and those sitting in the audience today, Jackie is an 18-year employee with the Franklin County Community-Based Correction Facility and the center's executive director. She also spent years as an adult probation officer. She's held leadership positions with the correctional facility when the center earned accreditation from the American Correctional Association from the U.S. Department of Justice Prison Rape Elimination Act. She was the facility's executive director when the center earned both reaccreditation and ensured the center had many care compliance rates at near 100%. She is a compassionate leader who has remained committed to providing residents with the tools and support they need for a second chance. Jackie retires with the respect of her staff, her board, and the dedication for being transparent for the work that she does. And now I can speak about you personally. What I can say about Jackie is she's resilient, she's compassionate, she's empathetic, but she leads as a second chance leader in this space. She has been given, and has over the years been given, many obstacles. One which I've seen personally and professionally. I don't know, many of you all know this, how budgets are established, or they're established by formulas. She's been given limited budgets, but has been charged with transforming the mindset and the lives of the residents with those limited budgets. She's done it with a smile. She's done it from the perspective of if she would never ask her employees to do anything that she wouldn't do. I've seen her smile through obstacles. I've seen her step in and I think basically have done everything in that facility including cooking when that was needed as well.
That's scary.
Jackie looks at every resident in her facility as a resident, and she is committed to making sure that she has done everything possible that when they walk out of her facility, they walk out with the tools necessary to be successful. If they are not connected, she makes sure that she is connected. I think our assistant prosecutor, Janine, and we were sitting in a meeting one time, and she was excited that there was some person she met in the county. She's like, oh my goodness, we get, I think, our cleaning taken care of now. And I looked at her and was like, you're excited about that? And she said, absolutely, because everything matters. And she knew that she could utilize that portion of her budget to impact the lives of the residents that were being held in her facility. This leader before us is very rare to find. She is a gem. I'm hoping that she's just going to be in timeout until there's another jersey that she puts back on. I'm looking at her husband right now in our community. And we appreciate your 18 years of service, Jackie, and thank you so much for leading, not just with your heart, but from the mindset of you can make a change in everyone's lives that you impact. So thank you. You can say it yours.
Oh, you didn't tell me that part. No, I really appreciate the support of not only Joy, but all the county commissioners. For a while, our facility became an isolated place, and in the last, 10 years or so, we've reached out, and the commissioners have been wonderful at supporting in many ways. But I'm just very fortunate to have had a career that I didn't really know I was going to get into. I went to school to be an anchor woman, but started working in the clerk's office in 1988, and just fell in love with the court system and public service, and I'm just so honored to have had this career, and I'm definitely just taking a break and figuring out what the next role is for me. But just thank you.
Well, Jackie, we appreciate you spending your career with us and the work that you've done on behalf of the residents of Franklin County. So we appreciate everything you've done every day for everybody. And we have a ceremonial resolution here.
Hey, President, over here, Mike, man. Yeah, I would just add too. I don't know you, but I know what 20 years of service is like, and that's almost 2 decades. And those of us who have also been in that kind of length of time know the sacrifice that families are a part of in that journey. And so congratulations on 18 years of impact and 18 years of service, but more importantly, thank you to your family for being a part of that journey in this role that we all play in. We're a team, we're a family, and we're absolutely certain that this isn't the last we'll hear from you.
Just quickly, I know we didn't have an opportunity to spend a lot of time together. I want to say thank you for your service, over 30 years of civil service. Thank you for 18 years more recently. But when we met, when I first became a commissioner and came over to CBCF, you gave me a tour, and then we were talking about the successes and challenges, everything that you said as you were talking about our residents who come through CBCF. I mean, the thread was their humanity, their dignity, right? And putting them on a path forward where they can feel good about themselves and not come back through our justice system. Like the love that you have, the compassion, no matter what their charges may have been, what they did, like the way you talked about our residents is they have a fresh start today or when they come through the facility. And that's hard to find. I know when I talk about being in the legislature all the time because it was a time. But, being on the Correctional Institution Inspection Committee, I would talk to a lot of people, whether they were over prison wardens or dealing with individuals who were in our prison system. And I can't say that I wish everybody had your love and compassion
to see people as they are, as human beings who may have made a mistake, but given the opportunity and a second chance, can make different choices. And so I hope that people will look at you and your leadership and be inspired by it and want to duplicate it and do the same. So again, thank you so much for your service.
It's often that Commissioner Crowley talks about the legislature and serving time in prison in the same sentence. Want to come up and give you your honor? All right. Let's begin with the agenda. We'll start with the coroner.
Resolution number 55523, resolution authorizing the Franklin County Administrator to sign on behalf of the coroner an agreement with Wayne State University, Eugene Applebaum College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences affiliation agreement for clinical education.
Morning, Commissioners. Patrick McLean with the Office of Coroner Nathaniel Obermeyer. This resolution authorizes the county administrator to sign on behalf of the coroner for an affiliation agreement with Wayne State University and their College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences for pathology assistants to conduct a forensic rotation within the coroner's office. This will provide the pathology assistants with the opportunity to learn from the forensic pathologists and other professionals within the coroner's office about medico-legal death investigations. And we also certainly hope that some of these PAs will want to work in the coroner's office when they're finished with their training. Franklin County Prosecuting Attorney reviewed the contract, found it to be acceptable as to form. Acceptance conditions approved the affiliation agreement with Wayne State and hereby release signature authority to the Franklin County Administrator. Thank you. Happy to take any questions.
All right, if there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 555-23.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 55523 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. All right, to the engineer.
Resolution number 55623, resolution approving a contract modification with Shelley and Sands Incorporated for the Reynoldsburg New Albany Road and Havens Road Roundabout project.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brad Foster, along with Nick Soulis, representing Franklin County Engineer Cornell Robertson. Commissioners, our first resolution seeks authorization for a contract modification with Shelley and Sands for the Reynoldsburg New Albany Road and Havens Road Roundabout project. This is a $0 change order and formalized modifications to the maintenance of traffic and a reduction in the closure duration of the intersection. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
There are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 556-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 55623 has been adopted. Resolution number 55723, CTL Engineering Incorporated, consulting engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County engineer by providing construction inspection and administration services for the Hayden Run Road 6.74 over Scioto River Bridge project, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $210,406.
Commissioners, our next resolution seeks approval of a contract with CTL Engineering, consultant engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County engineer by providing construction inspection and administrative services for the Hayden Run Road 6.74 over the Scioto River Bridge project. CTL Engineering is a local engineering firm that was chosen via an engineering qualifications-based selection process. This project is located in northwest Franklin County and the city of Columbus. The project will rehabilitate the existing bridge and will accommodate additional shared use path. The project is funded by Ohio Clean Trail Funds of $500,000 and Ohio Public Works Commission of $430,533. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 55723.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 55723 has been adopted. Resolution number 55823, MTJ Engineering LLC, consulting engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County engineer by providing on-call engineering services, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $100,000.
The next resolution seeks approval to enter into a contract with MTJ Engineering to provide roundabout-specific engineering design services for the Franklin County Engineers Office. MTJ was chosen using a qualifications-based selection process. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 55823.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 55823 has been adopted. Resolution number 55923, the Manikin Smith Group Incorporated, consulting engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County engineer by providing construction inspection services for the 2023 General Bridge Maintenance Project, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $92,275.
Commissioners, our next resolution seeks approval of a contract with the Manikin Smith Group Consulting Engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County engineer by providing construction inspection and administrative services for the 2023 General Maintenance Bridge Project. This is a new annual maintenance program that's intended to assist the engineer staff with maintenance and upgrade to bridges throughout Franklin County. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 55923.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 55923 has been adopted. Resolution number 56023, preliminary allocation of county motor vehicle license fee $5 funds for the Village of Minerva Park in the amount of $160,000.
The Village of Minerva Park has submitted a request for license fee funds to pay for improvements in Minerva Lake Road between Far View Road and State Route 3. The county engineer has viewed the proposed use of the funds and he's determined that they meet the allowable use. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 560-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded and voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 56023 has been adopted. Resolution number 56123, establishing, altering, and widening of Wagoner Road, County Road number 106, from East Main Street, US 40, to East Broad Street, State Route 16, Truro Township and Jefferson Township, Franklin County, Ohio, declared necessary.
Commissioners, our final resolution seeks to declare necessary the improvement of Wagner Road from East Main Street to East Broad Street. This is a collaborative project between Franklin County and the city of Reynoldsburg. The project seeks to widen and rebuild Wagner Road along with pedestrian facilities. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 56123.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 56123 has been adopted.
Thank you very much, and hopefully I can see you guys out at the Franklin County Fair this week.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, on to the Office on Aging.
Resolution number 56223, resolution authorizing a non-general fund supplemental appropriation for 2 new training officer positions.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. I am Larice Cohens, Chief Financial Officer for the Office on Aging. I'm here today with our Assistant Director, Caroline Rankin, for supportive services. And we do have one resolution for your consideration of approval today. This resolution will authorize the addition of 2 training officers to provide streamlined and standardized onboarding support and facilitate classroom training for new hires. The addition of the new training positions will alleviate the burden on supervisors who are currently responsible for these duties. A supplemental appropriation in a total amount of $65,253 in the Senior Services Fund is required to support the 2023 expenditures. This is $40,816 in personnel services and $24,437 in fringe benefits. Pending any questions, I ask for approval of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. Move for approval of Resolution 56223.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 56223 has been adopted.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Resolution number 56323, resolution authorizing a grant agreement with Ohio Business Development Center for support of the Construction Academy in the amount of $15,000.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Tamika Bumper, Economic Equity Administrator for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And today we have this first agreement. This agreement is with the Ohio Business Development Center for support of the Construction Academy in the amount of $15,000. The Ohio Business Development Center recognizes that construction industry is booming in the greater Columbus region. Small, minority, and disadvantaged, and women-owned businesses within Franklin County, Ohio, will need to increase their construction management skills to compete and thrive in this industry. The Ohio Business Development Center established a construction academy to meet the needs of Central Ohio minority contractors. Its goal is to empower small businesses to become more viable business enterprises through comprehensive training and education. The Franklin County Board of Commissioners believes in economic development and the method that OBDC will provide to small and emerging businesses within Franklin County. This is the second agreement with OBDC to support the academy. With the last agreement, 40 construction subcontractors and suppliers participated in the program and completed the academy. This agreement that we're asking for today will serve 30 small emerging business construction firms with a 10-course series that include technical and enrichment topics. This resolution supports the Rise Together Blueprint. Goal number 1, increasing employers' engagement in neighborhoods of concentrated poverty through creation of a living wage and high-paying jobs for residents. And here with me today is Rhonda Watson Barber. She's the president and CEO of the Ohio Business Development Center, and she is going to give us some remarks, and pending any questions that you have, we will ask your approval of this resolution today.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, I want to thank you for funding our program last year. We were able to assist 40 contractors in increasing their skills as far as blueprint reading, how to estimate, how to read the spec book. We also took them through some legal training and some accounting. So this year, 40 of we're going to take some of the 40 that participated, and they will be enrolling in a paint remediation course, which will allow them to increase their skills. And through Columbus City Schools and Moresby, they will be able to get contracts immediately to work on upcoming buildings. So we're really appreciative that we're able to increase their economic development and to help them get more jobs for their companies. So we're very appreciative of that. Are there any questions?
Administrator Wilson.
Thank you. I don't have, Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. I don't have a question, but I had the pleasure of attending your graduation a few months back, and I thank you for that invitation to speak because it's always great to see individuals obtaining the skills necessary to be able to compete for their share of our booming construction market that we're blessed to have here within Franklin County. This is a very modest investment in the lives of the individuals that are impacted through your effort, Ms. Barber. So I just want to commend you for what you do and what Ohio MBE does in our community. Because that is what economic inclusion and economic mobility is about, what organizations like yours are doing in our community on behalf of Franklin County. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Again, we're really appreciative. The contractors that we work with, they're not big companies, but it takes an acorn to make an oak tree. So we're working with small contractors to make sure they have the skills to be able to compete for upcoming jobs and to grow their businesses for generational wealth for their families and our communities. Thank you.
Absolutely. If there are no additional comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 56323.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 563-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 564-23, resolution authorizing an agreement with the Us Together Incorporated to implement Central Ohio's welcoming plan for services and support for immigrants and refugees in the amount of $231,600.
This agreement is with Us Together to implement the Central Ohio's Welcoming Plan for Services and Support for the Immigrants and Refugees. Us Together's mission is to coordinate, organize, and initiate services to refugees and immigrants through education, advocacy, support services, information, referrals, and networking opportunities to strengthen the community that we live in, and to promote internal understanding through intercultural exchange. In 2019, New Americans made up 26.4% of Central Ohio's population, in which the New American population and the needs of New Americans continue to grow. The implementation of the Welcoming Plan will address barriers and inaccessibility New Americans face, desiring to create a more welcoming environment, a space belonging, economic inclusion, educational, and leadership opportunities. Us Together, along with Welcoming Cities, will implement the Welcoming City Plan, prioritizing these 5 key areas: equitable economic workforce development, equitable education, connected, safe, and healthy communities founded on social justice, equitable access to services, resources, and ESL classes, civic engagement, government, and leadership development. Nadia Casavan from Us Together and Guadalupe Velasquez from Welcoming City is available today to answer any questions you may have, and pending any questions, we ask your approval of this resolution.
President O'Grady, Commissioners Boyce, Crowley, our request for the funding in this resolution is to roll out phase 2 of the plan to welcome immigrants and refugees in Central Ohio. This plan is sanctioned by Welcoming America and American Immigration Council, who provided advice and guidance throughout the process of creating this plan. And we are only one of 77 communities in the United States that have an approved welcoming plan. We worked very hard last year on creating this plan, and now looking forward to implementation phase. And I also have here Guadalupe Velasquez.
Ms. Velasquez, you're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners, for considering and approving this resolution. We know that it's not just about creating a space of welcoming, but it's about creating a space of belonging for everyone. And this plan is what we call a targeted, universal targeted approach, in that it benefits all, but we also focus and target specific communities so that everyone is uplifted and feels like they belong. And we know that this plan will help, just like other particular initiatives that you have in the county, to create that ecosystem of welcoming and equitable access to services so that everyone, again, feels like they belong. So thank you for your commitment to everything you're doing in the DEI space. And thank you today for recognizing and approving this resolution. I'm proud to be a Franklin County resident.
Great. If there are no additional comments, I'm sorry.
I think, Commissioner O'Grady, man. Yeah, I just want to thank both Nadia and Guadalupe for all of your work. I mean, this isn't something that's new. You all have been at this for quite some time, and it definitely is making Franklin County a great place to live and work and raise a family. And I think that's what we really strive for, to hear what you just said, what your last comments were, being proud to live in this community and be a part of it. And our job is, we don't have a magic wand or button that we can push that makes it work like that for every resident. However, we have the tools and the resources that create the environment and perhaps platform to do that. And you all have been our trusted advisors in this journey. And even though we've got a ways to go, I'm very confident that this is one of those investments that takes us just a little bit closer to that point a position where everyone can feel just like you do. And so I thank you for your work. And Guadalupe is on the screen, but I know Nadia was on earlier. You've been a great partner, both of you, for Franklin County in this work, and we appreciate and value you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no additional comments or questions, I move for approval of Resolution 56423.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 56423 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Have a good one.
All right, thanks, Tamika. And now to Economic Development and Planning.
Resolution number 56523, review of petition to annex 7.80 acres, more or less, from Norwich Township to the city of Columbus, case number ANX-25-23.
Good morning, Commissioners. Director James Schimmer from Economic Development and Planning. Before you this morning, you have a resolution that is to consider an expedited annexation of 7.8 acres, more or less, from Norwich Township to the city of Columbus. The petition case number is ANX-25-23. The owners and sites are Mark and Andrea Conkus, 4781 Dublin Road, parcel identification number 200-00002. And its second is Repar Properties, 4747 Dublin Road, parcel identification number 200-0000554. The agent is Sean Mental. Commissioners, the total perimeter of the site is approximately 2,843 feet. Approximately 814 feet, or 28.6 of that, or 28.6%, is in fact contiguous to the city of Columbus. Our department has looked at this application, and it has in fact met all of the statutory requirements outlined in section 709.02 of the Ohio Revised Code. The applicant has provided proof of notification and a timeline, and has provided an ordinance from the city of Columbus identifying the services that will be provided once the annexation has been approved, and a statement regarding possible incompatible land uses and a zoning buffer. Ordinance number 1813-2023 was passed by the city of Columbus on June 26th of 2023. Pending any questions, Commissioners, your staff is recommending this for your approval of this annexation this morning.
And Mr. President?
I was going to say, Jim and Madam Clerk, I know we have speakers for both 565 and 56623. We can't vote on them both at the same time, but why don't we deal with them both at the same time? Are they both of these resolutions, they meet all statutory requirements?
They do, Commissioner.
That's what I thought. Before we call the speakers up, if you don't mind, Deputy Prosecutor Janine Hummer, would you please let us know, not just the commissioners know, but the audience know what the commissioners' purview is as it relates to these two resolutions, when all the requirements are met by, all the statutory requirements are met by these two resolutions, please.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners, and to the public. Unlike many items that come before you, this statutory process, it limits the Commissioner's authority in terms of what they can and cannot do with regard to their voting powers. In this case, if the statutory process has been followed and the provisions have been met, the dates, the filings, the Commissioners have no authority to deny the annexation. That seems quite strange because you're a voting body. How can you stop this? But this, you live and die by the statutory constraints that exist. And in this case, the state legislature has set forth what you can and cannot do. And what is going to go in this location when an annexation occurs is really a matter for the local jurisdictions to control, and that the County Commissioners can encourage those discussions, but do not have the authority to control it.
Gotcha. So the body that they would have, the local municipal body would be the body that anybody would have concerns, that's the body that they would want to take this up with. Okay.
And-
Not that it's inappropriate for anybody to have a conversation today, it's just, just wanted to make sure that everybody understood the actions that would be taken today, or the
And
conversation.
it is also my understanding, and Director Schimmer can support me on this, I believe all the statutory provisions and time limits have been met.
Yeah, and we had this conversation a few months ago, and I made these points a few months ago. I just wanted to make sure we reiterated them again today so that everybody was clear. Okay, so that being said,
Commissioner, just want to point out that our records are available to anyone to look at, to make sure that we in fact met the timelines and statutory requirements. And we're happy to work with anybody on those, but we
Okay.
are providing this information to you this morning because we believe it's the case.
sure. Oh, all right, thank you. All that being said, I just want to make sure that we did all that for the record. And now, Madam Clerk, if you could please call the speaker. I know, what do we have, 3?
We have 3 for this
Okay,
first one, Mr.
Great, if you
President.
could call the speakers up, that'd be great.
Brian Hunt. Mr. Hunt, you will have 3 minutes to speak. I will give you a 1-minute warning when your time remains, okay?
Thank you.
Go ahead and begin.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Brian Hunt of Loveland Law LLC, appearing on behalf of Scioto Property Owners Collective, commonly known as SPOC. SPOC is an organization that was formed to represent the neighbors in this part of the county and to be a mechanism for discussion, collaboration, and community action to preserve and enhance the area. SPOC intends to be and will be present and actively involved at every stage of the development of this project, and it will ensure that the process is followed correctly and that the ultimate outcome is a project that is responsible, compatible, and appropriate. That is why we are here today. The landowners in this case have requested to annex the property from Norwich Township into the city of Columbus pursuant to an expedited Type 2 annexation. Normally, this type of annexation should be simple, routine, and without major issues. Indeed, that is the intent and design behind the statute. However, time and again, we have seen the development team, in this case, and government officials fail to adhere to the clear legal standards set forth by law. For instance, a previous attempt to annex part of this territory was tainted with improper procedures, and it was withdrawn after a legal challenge was filed. Part of the application before you today is the second attempt to annex that territory. Even this time, though, there are facially substantive issues with the application. Revised Code Section 709.023B requires that certain notice be provided to the township. Specifically, it clearly states that notice to a township must be served upon the fiscal officer, and that the notice must contain the time and date when the petition was filed. The notice to the township that I have seen did not include the date and time that the petition was filed. Further, the proofs and affidavits of service filed with this resolution and Resolution 0566-23 state that the notice was served on Jamie Fisher. Jamie Fisher is the township administrator for Norwich Township, not the fiscal officer, who is Paul Lambert. Thus, the notice and proof of service of notice are facially defective. Accordingly, the statutory process has not been met, the application is defective and should not be approved by this board. Issues like this may seem technical, but if a developer cannot follow a relatively straightforward and clear process for annexation, what confidence can the neighbors have that it is capable of adhering to the care and level of detail required to build a 232-unit development in their residential neighborhood? Perhaps even worse, if government officials, agencies, and departments allow the development to proceed notwithstanding clear and facial legal issues, what confidence can the neighbors have that their interests are being considered and protected by the government actors purportedly meant to do so? The answer to both of these questions is none. Ultimately, SPOC demands that any development in the area be responsible, compatible, and appropriate. The development in this case does not meet any of these criteria. For example, a development that will house numerous families with children along a busy road that has no sidewalks and no public transportation is not responsible. A development of almost 20 multi-level apartment buildings in an area comprised of single-family homes is not compatible. A development that will come at such a high cost and burden to the neighboring property owners is not appropriate. This development is not acceptable. We thank you for your time and consideration. We hope and expect that you will take our comments into consideration as you proceed. Thank you.
We have 2 more, Mr. President. Next, can we have Holly Hollingsworth please come up? You may begin whenever you're ready.
Good morning. 4 months ago, I was here opposing the first form of this, 7.8 acres. Now the same lawyer/developer added another 6. He's also re-petitioning you to annex the first 7.8. He withdrew that one from Columbus City Council after neighbors went to court pointing out that he pursued the city's acceptance of that annexation before the 60-day waiting period provided by law had been fulfilled. Yet as we speak, he has a preliminary site plan for his apartment project already in front of Columbus City officials, already has markups about where the garbage dumpsters should sit and other details. So if you feel like this process is being pushed quickly along with no regard for your role, welcome. That's how we feel too. In our part of your county, homeowners on all sides of these parcels have signs in their yards supporting Scioto Property Owners Collective. SPOC is united in our concern that what's currently planned for these parcels is not responsible, not compatible, and not appropriate. Here's what it is: 232 apartments in 19 buildings along a road that has 1 lane in each direction, no sidewalks, no public transportation. It's a plan to shoehorn housing density of nearly 16 units per acre into a community where density currently runs from less than 1 up to about 6 units per acre, an exponential increase from the 3 households currently on these acres to literally hundreds of households on a bit of land that's also home to several natural waterways. As I told you in March, we're not against development. It's possible for changes to be made to these parcels that would improve our neighborhood rather than detract. I told you those behind the proposal can make money on a project that's also good for our neighborhood. I noted the law outlining this expedited process calls for buffers between existing neighborhoods and incompatible uses. I told you we wanted significant buffers. One of the principals behind this proposal heard all of that in March, sat right here and nodded when Commissioner Boyce said, work closely with the residents and be thoughtful about buffering. Those are fair asks. Here's what happened next. Our group invited them to share their plans. They did. More than 200 neighbors came out. Not one neighbor supports this project. The development team wants to claim they removed a handful of units in response, about 20 out of more than 250. Oddly enough, their own original visual aids showed the same density they're still pushing for, 15.77 units per acre. So did they really change anything or just put lipstick on a pig? And buffers, 25-foot setbacks they proposed have seen no changes despite our concerns. 25 feet, less than 10 yards, less than a first down, less than the distance across this room, and far less than the lowest setbacks in the neighborhood. Back in March, Ms. Hummer told us if in fact there had been an error with regard to the annexation process laid out by statute, this board could vote no or table the matter until the process was corrected. There have been errors, as Mr. Hunt pointed out. Another speaker, Mr. Hunt, outlined that. You could table this on that basis. Why should anyone be allowed to ignore the proper procedure? I told you in March our first neighborhood meeting had 50 people, the second had 100, 2 more since had 200 each. Neighbors are calling for the formation of a PAC. If defective annexation moves ahead, the process doesn't honor timelines prescribed by law, the development is not responsible, not compatible, not appropriate, the PAC needs to look at every available tool and approach to change this process. Our group's refrain on this issue is, it's not no, it's what. What we want is to welcome additional families into our strong community with development that's responsible, compatible, and appropriate. We appreciate your help to insist the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Charles Toland. And then this will be the final speaker, Mr. President, for this resolution. You may begin.
I'd like to first thank the commissioners for both their time today and for their service. These comments apply to both parcels. We are still don't like this proposal. As you can tell, is far worse. When we saw the designs, it was far worse than we'd expected when we were here last time. This proposal seems like it's designed to fail. City of Columbus put set forth the C2P2, their citywide planning principles, and this design violates pretty much every principle that applies within those plans. This design and this concept is particularly bad for the tenants who will be living there. This is not a particularly livable situation they're presenting. There's too many details. Holly's covered some of the details, but there's really too many to count. Part of this problem starts with the annexation process. This is a piecemeal sort of annexation. It's not part of any sort of master plan or infrastructure plan for this area. This is just being brought in by some developers, first-time developers from the outside who are just imposing this on us. This development is being treated as if it's in an urban setting. The Dublin Road corridor is anything but an urban setting. It's an old relic of an old farm road without any sort of infrastructure support that you find in an urban setting. The Dublin Road corridor is fragmented between multiple jurisdictions. It suffers from a lack of planning. There is no master plan in general that would apply to this. Dublin has very good master plans. Hillier is just developing a new comprehensive plan. This doesn't really do us any good. We would like to see cooperation and coordination between the various jurisdictions for the developments that happen along Dublin Road. This type 2 annexation pretty much precludes any sort of cooperation between the jurisdictions. It's just sprung on everybody without, as you are today, without any chance of input. It doesn't help this process, doesn't help anyone, and it especially doesn't help the future tenants. We would love to see cooperation. We'd love to see a moratorium on type 2 annexations, in Columbus area, obviously starting with this one. Thank you for your time.
And that's all the speaker slips we have, Mr. President, for this resolution.
Thank you. Do we have any for the next one?
We do. We have Ms. Hollingsworth and Mr. Toland again.
Do you have questions, please?
We good. If I could, I have questions for council, for the first speaker. Yeah.
Mr. Hunt, if you could please come up to the podium.
I have some questions about service, or service process, since you were saying that it did not meet the statutory requirement or the requirement for the filing. And so the first question, and I wish I knew what it said, but I don't, so you can educate me. You said that service was supposed to be on the fiscal officer and it was on the administrator. And so does the process allow that if the fiscal officer is not available or is not there, that service on the administrator would be allowable, or does it prohibit service on anyone else to meet the requirement?
So section 709.023B states, the agent for the petitioner shall notify in the manner and form specified in this section the clerk of the legislative authority of the municipal corporation to which the annexation is proposed, which I believe happened in this case, but also the fiscal officer of each township, any portion of which is included within the territory proposed for annexation. Later on in the section, it says, proof of service of notice on each appropriate governmental officer shall be filed with the Board of County Commissioners with which the petition was filed. So it doesn't allow for any deviation from that.
Okay, and then you said that when it was filed, there was no time and date stamp? Is that correct?
The notice that I saw, which I don't think is in the record, but what I saw that was submitted to the township, there was a cover letter which had the date on it, but the time was not included in that letter. Attached to that notice was the petition, which included a date stamp, but no date, and I believe that is in the record. If you look at the petition, you'll see the stamp that was there from Franklin County Economic Development and Planning.
And so, because you're saying that it didn't meet the requirements of service or process of service, are you moving forward with legal recourse that would be appropriate?
That's something that could be explored. I can't say definitively what will occur, but I do think it's facially defective based upon the terms of the statute.
If Mr. Mental can come up and if you can answer the questions as far as what the gentleman, Mr. Holt, is saying in regards to the process of service. Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner. Sean Mental, agent for the applicant. I personally served the notice. It was addressed to the fiscal officer. I handed it directly to the person who responded at Norwich Township, which happened to be the administrator. So it was addressed, and I handed it to Ms. Fisher and said, this is for the fiscal officer, and notice is delivered.
I'm sorry, if anybody has any questions, I'm looking at
I was just,
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, just to build on what Commissioner Crawley, Commissioner Grady, if I may. Maybe, to the residents here, one, again, as always, thank you for coming down. I assure you that you're welcome in your perspective and conversation. That being said, we're in a situation where our perspective on the documents provided and where we are in the legal process, we take that review from the prosecutor's office, which is our legal counsel. And so I'd like to ask the prosecutor's office to just respond on these sort of technical issues that, it's based on what I understand from the presentation from the administration, that it met all of the standards, but I'd like to hear from legal counsel as to your review of it and if it has met all of the statutory and technical requirements to be submitted.
Please, I know Mr. Hunt, we appreciate your input. Thank you very much, but we need to hear from the prosecutor on this.
Thank you, Commissioners. Legal counsel for the annexation has provided you with a statement that he actually met the statutory requirements by serving the documents on the fiscal officer. If we accept that statement and based on the filings from and confirmation from EDP, which I would recommend that you have Ms. Director Schimmer come before you to confirm that. It is my opinion that for you to move forward.
If I could just respond real quick, I don't believe it's accurate to say that he's provided evidence that it was served upon the fiscal officer. His affidavit, and I believe he stood here today, states that he provided it to Jamie Fisher, who is the administrator for the township. We don't have any evidence that it was served upon the fiscal officer.
We don't have any evidence that it wasn't.
Well, the burden is on the applicant to show that it was. It's not on the opposition to show that it wasn't.
Mac?
Please.
Commissioner O'Grady, I mean, we're really getting into the weeds on this one, but I guess my perspective on that is, that's tricky in the sense that, and this is more of a question, I guess, to the prosecutor's office. In these townships who don't have a lot of staff, a lot of employees, who represents the official receiving of the county? I mean, my natural reaction is if, when Franklin County is served with something, the commissioners' names are often the direction of that recipient, but the person who receives it is the administrator, and he represents really all aspects of the county. And so I could imagine that on township level, where there's 10 people that work at the township, maybe, that the fiscal officer receiving something, the administrator receiving something is but a logical conduit to something being delivered. I mean, it's kind of like being served papers or something. Do you go and you find that person, or is that? So this is a question: is that a appropriate handoff for a document that is directed to the fiscal officer to be handed to the administrator? It would be for Franklin County, I know that, but I don't know if that would transfer to a township in an appropriate way. And would it be for Franklin County? I presume I'm correct when I say that.
To go to your direct question of whether or not, first of all, we have confirmation that the notice was addressed to the proper party. The commissioners, based on the annexation laws of when there is, for instance, a one-day timeliness issue, the case law supports a substantial compliance argument. In this case, even going further, it is clear that the authority over the township rests with both the township trustees and the township administrator. The township administrator receiving an item addressed to the fiscal officer, in my opinion, meets the statutory requirements.
So I was asking.
Excuse me.
And if I could just respond, the statute is clear, it's unambiguous, it states that service must be made on the fiscal officer. It doesn't say that you can serve it on the administrator who may pass it off to the fiscal officer. It doesn't say that the notice has to be addressed to the fiscal officer. It states that service must be made on the fiscal officer. It then goes on to say that proof of service on each appropriate governmental or government officer shall be filed with the Board of County Commissioners with which the petition was filed. You don't have that in this case. There is no proof of service on the fiscal officer. You have an affidavit stating that it was provided to the administrator. You have a statement from the developer, Mr. Mental, or the agent for the developer, that he delivered it to her. But we have no proof of service on the fiscal officer in this case. That's a clear violation of the unambiguous language of the statute. And there's no, I mean, well, yeah, it's clear.
Is Deputy Prosecutor Hummer, is service to the administrator acceptable in this case, or not?
One option, if the commissioners have a concern, is we can have the director contact the fiscal officer right now to provide you.
Well, that's my suggestion. We can certainly do that, have Director Schimmer contact Norwich Township and have, we'll have them call in but the question that Mr. Hunt is raising is the more to the point is the question of, does service to the administrator suffice, or is that a violation?
The service to the administrator was a letter directed to the fiscal officer. In my opinion, because of that it meets the statutory requirements. But if you want to relieve yourself of any doubt or question regarding a legal issue, you can substantiate that by having the fiscal officer on the phone to indicate service was delivered.
My suggestion would be that we move on with the remainder of the agenda, move to Job and Family Services. In the meantime, have Director Schimmer contact Norwich Township, bring them back and put them on speakerphone so that the entire, so that we can hear them here in the hearing room. Once you have them on speakerphone, and then we'll, if that's acceptable.
County Administrator Kenneth Wilson, I have a suggestion. I agree with everything you've stated, Commissioner O'Grady, regarding how we should proceed forward. I think given the seriousness of this matter, I would go further to say that the Township Fiscal Administrator, Paul Lambert, should be on the Zoom as a witness and state the fact of whether he had knowledge of this, because in all practicality, as has been stated, it was delivered to the Township Administrator, and the law doesn't specify that it has to be, to my knowledge, certified mail and signed by anyone. In hours of a township across 88 counties, township hours are very limited. So the law and legislative intent has to come in at some point in time.
So
In a case like this.
If I could jump in, it does say the notice to the appropriate governmental officer shall be given by certified mail, return receipt requested, or by causing the notice to be personally served on the officer with proof of service by affidavit of the person who delivered the notice. And I appreciate the fact that you're trying to reach a compromise here, but even having the fiscal officer call in does not meet the standards and requirements of the statute. You don't have proof of service filed with the commissioners.
I apologize. Go ahead, Commissioner Crowley.
So you just said that never mind, I'm not gonna go back and forth on because it was permissive, right? So it is permissive, it could either be certified mail or personal service. And so I wanted to, which is what Janine, Attorney Hummer just said, that she believed personal service was, that service was complete upon the administrator of the township, and you're saying that it's not. And so it didn't have to be certified mail if Mr. Mental delivered it, personally delivered it. And the statute doesn't say also what would be required from the fiscal officer to provide to Mr. Mental either, does it?
No, and that's
Okay.
not necessary. What we would need is an affidavit from Mr. Mental saying, I personally delivered this on the fiscal officer for Norwich Township. That meets the statute's
Are
requirements.
we gonna table this until, are we gonna take, you want me to make a motion?
So
Just
look, I'm,
move on with the agenda.
yeah, and I just want everybody to understand, I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to get to an equitable resolution. You know, whether it's just postponing this for, you know, a few minutes until we can get to an equitable resolution, or if it's necessary to table it for.
We do not have to postpone or table if you're going to come back to it during the same agenda.
Okay.
So we can
Yeah,
just.
the point is whether we're gonna come back to it in the same agenda here in a few minutes, or whether we need to, you know, table it until next week, or whatever the answer to the question is. I'm just trying to get to an equitable resolution here. I don't wanna, I'm not trying to, I'm just looking for a simple solution to this. I guess the question is, my next question to the prosecutor is, you know, Mr. Hunt brings up the question of service and whether it needs to be by certified mail or if it needs to be, you know, in person. Commissioner Crowley brings up the issue of it being permissive. You know, where are we with this?
If you give me a moment, I'm going to talk to Mr. Mental and the director, and if you can move on with your agenda, I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Mr. President?
Please.
Mr. President, there were a couple of other questions from the technical things that I was curious about. Should I
Sure.
ask those now or wait till it comes back? Whatever you
have them-
decide.
you have them written
Yeah,
down so you
yeah,
don't forget
I was just gonna ask.
Why don't we move on
Okay.
with, where are we here?
Job and Family Services.
With
is being
JFS,
first.
get this stuff done and we'll come back to this. How's that sound?
If I could just add one thing real quick, just to make sure I don't want to get too thrown off by the word permissive. It is mandatory that you have one of two options, either certified mail or,
Right, I
but you
get
do have
that.
an option between those two, so, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to Job and Family Services, and we will come back to resolutions 56523 and 56623.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me, resolution number 56723. Resolution approving a subaward agreement with The Ohio State University for the Life Sports Summer Youth Enrichment Program in the amount of $40,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Vivian Turner, Chief Administrator for Job and Family Services. The Life Sports is a partnership with the Columbus Recreation and Parks, the Lindy Foundation, Adam H., and the Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority, in which youth ages 5 through 14 are offered quality educational, social, and physical activities throughout the summer months. Life Sports provides 8 weeks of full-day in-person programming and includes a combination of social skill development, instruction in science, health and wellness lessons, and sports activities. Camps will operate out of 4 different locations, including The Ohio State University, the Linden Community Center, the Beatty Community Center, and the Davis Middle School. Approximately 60 TANF-eligible youth will be served this summer. This resolution aligns with goal number 13 of a Rise Together Blueprint Plan, and pending any questions, I request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 56723.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 56723 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you.
All right, Justice Policy and Programs.
Resolution number 56823. Resolution authorizing the county administrator to approve the following contract modifications. 1, extend project period for the county's 2020 Office on Violence Against Women Improving Criminal Justice Response Grant Award through September 30th, 2024. 2, use approved grant funds to increase ICJR subrecipient award contracts issued to the Columbus City Attorney, the Columbus Division of Police, Franklin County Municipal Court, and Nationwide Children's Hospital Research Institute. 3, approve extending aforementioned ICJR contracts through July 31st, 2024. Mr. Greenwood, you are on mute.
My apologies, thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Kevin Greenwood, Deputy Director for Survivor Services in the Office of Justice Policy and Programs. Joining me today is Bridget DeCrane, Blueprint for Safety Project Director. The resolution before you requests that the Board of Commissioners authorize the county administrator to approve the following contract modifications to address emerging project needs which have been identified through the implementation of the Blueprint for Safety process. First, to extend the project period of the county's 2020 Office on Violence Against Women Improving Criminal Justice Response, or ICJR, grant award through September 30th, 2024. Second, to approve increasing the ICJR subrecipient awards issued to the Columbus City Attorney, the Columbus Division of Police, the Franklin County Municipal Court, and the Nationwide Children's Hospital Research Institute. Finally, approval extending these ICJR subrecipient awards through July 31st, 2024. These modifications have been reviewed and approved by the U.S. Department of Justice and the Office of Violence Against Women. The amounts of the award modifications are as follow: an increase in the contract with the Columbus City Attorney by $85,653, a $65,660 increase with the Columbus Division of Police subaward, an increase of $149,758 with the Franklin County Municipal Court, and finally, an increase of $29,724 to the Nationwide Children's Hospital Research Institute. Please note that these contract modifications are 100% funded through the 2020 ICJR award and have no fiscal impact on the county's general fund budget. Pending any questions, we ask for your approval of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. Move for approval, Resolution 568-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 568-23 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners. Have a good day.
Thank you. Sanitary engineer.
Resolution number 569-23. Resolution authorizing a contract agreement with Kirk Brothers Company Incorporated for the Harrisburg Pump Station Improvements Project in the amount of $632,500.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Ryan Stowe with Sanitary Engineering. Sanitary Engineering is requesting the approval of a contract with Kirk Brothers Company Incorporated to perform work for the county's Harrisburg Pump Station Improvement Project. Through invitation to bid 2023-09-13, Kirk Brothers was determined to be the lowest and best bidder for a contract amount not to exceed $632,500. The term of this contract shall be 200 days to completion from the notice to proceed. The contract has been approved to form by the prosecutor's office, and the cost of construction will be paid from the $5 million provided to the Department of Sanitary Engineering from the Board of Commissioners. Pending any questions or comments, I request the passage of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval, Resolution 569-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 569-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 570-23. Resolution authorizing a water pollution control loan fund application to the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency and the Ohio Water Development Authority for the construction phase of the Moneyback Brown Road East and Eureka Park Sanitary Sewer Extension Project, Connection Phase Round 3.
As a staple of the Water Quality Partnership Program, financial assistance has been made available to those residents in recently sewered county service areas who meet program requirements. These property owners who apply and are approved receive 100% assistance to connect to the sanitary sewer. The financial assistance provided to the approved property owner is in the form of a lien upon the property, which is payable according to the terms and conditions of the promissory note and mortgage. The lien is completely forgiven after 10 years if the property owner remains at the home for that duration, and is prorated for each year lived at the residence if the property owner decides to sell. Since the completion of our Moneyback and Brown Road East sanitary sewers in late 2017, the county has had 3 rounds of assistance. For round 3, 31 properties have been deemed to qualify for the assistance program. It is estimated that approximately $870,562 will be needed from the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund to connect these 31 homes and 4 additional homes which have been allotted for possible last-minute approvals. Financial assistance offered from WPCLF will be for a period of 10 years at 0% interest, whereby the annual debt service obligation will be approximately $87,056.20. This resolution will also allow the county administrator to submit a water pollution control loan fund application to the Ohio EPA and the Ohio Water Development Authority to provide assistance to connect these homes to the county sanitary sewer and sign all documents necessary to effectuate the loan. Pending any questions or comments, I request the passage of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 570-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 570-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 571-23. Resolution authorizing a water pollution control loan fund application to the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency and the Ohio Water Development Authority for the construction phase of the North Hague Avenue Sanitary Sewer Collection System construction project.
Via Resolution 648-20, Franklin County Board of Commissioners submitted a nomination to the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund for financial assistance for the construction phase of the North Hague Avenue Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. This project involves the construction of approximately 7,300 linear feet of sanitary sewer mains in our North Hague service area located within Franklin Township. In January 2023, the project was included on the final intended projects list as issued by the Ohio EPA. The Department of Sanitary Engineering will request approximately $2,365,973.95 to be made available from the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund. The Ohio EPA has indicated a willingness to provide the requested funding for a period of 20 years at the standard interest rate, which as of February 20th, 2023 was 2.61%. This will equate to a total debt service obligation of $3,052,036.59 and a semi-annual repayment of $76,392. This resolution will also allow the county administrator to submit a water pollution control loan fund application to the Ohio EPA for the construction phase of this capital improvement project and to sign all documents promulgated thereafter in reference to this request for financial assistance. This resolution also identifies the source for repayments, which shall be the sewer loan fund or the sewer fund. Any questions or comments, I request the passage of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. Move for approval of Resolution 571-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 571-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 572-23. Resolution authorizing a water pollution control loan fund application to the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency and the Ohio Water Development Authority for the construction phase of the Ferris Road Sanitary Sewer Collections System construction project.
As with the previous resolution, via Resolution 648-20, Board of Commissioners submitted a nomination to the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund for financial assistance for construction phase of our Ferris Road Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. The project involves the construction of approximately 4,660 linear feet of sanitary sewer mains in the Ferris Road neighborhood within unincorporated Mifflin Township. In January of 2023, this project was included on the final intended projects list as issued by the Ohio EPA. The Department of Sanitary Engineering will request approximately $2,799,200 to be made available from the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund. The Ohio EPA has indicated a willingness to provide the requested funding for a period of 20 years at the standard interest rate, which of February 20th of this year was 2.61%. This will equate to a total debt service obligation of $3,610,885.46 and a semi-annual repayment of $90,272.14. This resolution will also allow the county administrator to submit a water pollution control loan fund application to the Ohio EPA for the construction phase of this capital project and to sign all documents promulgated thereafter for this request for financial assistance. This resolution also identifies as the source of repayment as the sewer fund. Pending any questions or comments, I request the passage of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. Move for approval of Resolution 572-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 572-23 has been adopted. Resolution number 575-23, resolution authorizing an updated water pollution control loan fund application to the Ohio Environment Protection Agency and the Ohio Water Development Authority for the engineering and design phase of the Gladys Ina Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project.
On June 27th of this year, Resolution 523-23 was approved by the Board of Commissioners during general session. Following the approval of the resolution, it has come to light that during the drafting of the resolution, an outdated application was mistakenly used as the source for the financial information contained within the submitted briefing statement. The same out-of-date application was included in the submitted resolution package and ultimately signed by the county administrator, as was requested by the resolution. Corrections to the details of the WPCLF loan as contained in the original briefing statement include the overall requested funding amount increasing to $990,562.50 from $919,834. The total debt service obligation increasing to $103,784.98 from $77,831. And the semi-annual repayment increasing from $10,378.50 from $7,783.10. The interest rates and period of repayment of 5 years and 0% interest rate remain unchanged. The accompanying resolution has been revised to capture the use of the outdated loan application and the replacement of Resolution 523-23 with this updated resolution. In addition, the correct WPCLF application was reviewed and approved to form by the prosecutor's office and will be submitted with this resolution for signature by the county administrator. We apologize for any confusion that this brought about. Pending any questions or comments, I request the passage of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. Move for approval of Resolution 575-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 575-23 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. All right, so let's go back to 565-23 now. All right. So, in the meantime, while we were moving on with the agenda, we have had some conversations apparently and some activity. Director Schimmer, first, let's start with you.
Commissioners, members of the administration, I did reach out to Jamie Fisher, who is the township administrator. Paul was not available. The fiscal officer was not available this morning. Jamie told me that she had, in fact, been hand-delivered a document by Mr. Mental for notification on the expedited annexation, expedited 2 annexation, and that she had scanned that document and sent it to the fiscal officer and has documentation to that fact.
And she's not available this morning either?
She is not available to come online this morning, so,
Okay, but it's documented.
yes.
Okay. Mr. Mennel, can you come to the podium so we can swear you in? Clerk, can you swear in Mr. Mennel, please?
If you could raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
And then the prosecutor indicates that we, can you, under oath, can you tell us again what it is that you did and, you know, how this transpired?
I personally delivered at the Norwich Township Administration Facility at their front window. I personally delivered packets for both annexations, addressed to the fiscal officer, to the township administrator, and I pointed out to Ms. Fisher, I said, it's addressed to the fiscal officer per the statute. She said, okay, great, I'll call you with any questions, thanks.
Okay. So Deputy Prosecutor Hummer was the township administrator then acting, I guess, in a role as the clerk at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I believe when, Mr. Mento, when you say you went to the window, that is the place where the clerk normally is?
Yeah, there's usually, I think it's a new person, but they have kind of the administrative assistant, office manager, whomever, whatever the title is, sits there at that window and receives visitors, correspondence, et cetera.
Okay.
President O'Grady, members of the commissioners, based on what I believe is the statutory requirements, and as I've indicated already, substantial compliance has been met based on what has been provided to the Board of Commissioners today.
All right. Now,
Sir, excuse me, sir, if you're going to speak, the board will need, Mr. President, would you like him to come to the podium?
yeah, would, Brian, if you could, Mr. Hunt, if you could please come to the podium. In the meantime, what I'd like to do, being that these are sister resolutions, Jim, have you briefed 566 yet? No. Because they're sister resolutions, basically, it's a little awkward for us to vote on one without hearing on the second one. So I just want to make sure that we all understand that we probably ought to hear, before we vote on 565, we probably ought to hear on 566 as well, both the briefing from the director, and I know that folks want to speak about 566 as well. We have public, or we have two speaker slips on that. So I just want everybody to know that I think we're gonna do it that way as well, so that we can vote back to back on 565 and 566, because I don't think it makes any sense for us to vote on 565 and then go right back and brief and then vote, and then hear public testimony and vote on 566. I think we probably need to do both of them in conjunction with each other. Make sense? All right, sorry, Commissioner Crowley.
Well, I can wait. I was gonna say, I mean, since he was making comment from the audience about this turning into a hearing, if we're gonna move, we could brief on 566, as you said. But at the end of the day, I was gonna say, if from what Attorney Hummer said, like, we have met the requirement, the petitioner has met the requirements of the statute, and if there is any additional challenge to that there's the opportunity to challenge that in court. And so that's what I was going to say, that at this point in time, we can vote on 565, even though we can brief 566, but as far as anything else, I'm happy to make the motion, and if there's still a challenge to, or a concern about the process of service being met or not, then there's legal recourse for that.
Okay. Mr. Hunt?
Okay. No, guess, Mr. Mento, you're still under oath, correct?
Yeah, I have a question relative to this. I'm testifying or speaking under oath to you to provide evidence of my proof of service. I'm not here to be questioned by
And this
counsel.
is an administrative hearing. It was just to provide the proof of service information similar to replace the affidavit.
It's okay. Actually, I can just briefly make my point. We can move on without even asking any questions.
Mr. Hunt, if you could please direct your questions to the commissioners.
Yes, absolutely, and I won't direct any questions to Mr. Mental. Here's what we don't know, or here's what we know for sure. Petition was not served on the fiscal officer as required by the statute. There's no proof of service that's been filed with the board showing proof of service in the manners required by the statute. What we don't know is when the fiscal officer even received this petition. The statute requires 5 days. We don't know if he got it within 5 days or 10 days or 15 days. We don't have that information. So, I mean, we've talked about this. I think you all understand the issues. My position is that the statute clearly has not been met. The burden is on the petitioner or the applicant to meet those requirements, and he has not done so in this case. Thank Thank you.
My colleagues have anything they want to say?
Yeah, I mean, President O'Grady, so I have some questions that go beyond this technical, so about the process. Do I wait now, or does you want me, what do you want me to do in terms of, you want to continue and hear the rest of it, and then we just ask, or you want me to jump in
You
now?
can do that. I guess what I would say to Mr. Hunt is, Norwich Township just indicated that they just answered your questions. Now, granted, they weren't here to do that. They did that through Director Shimmer. But they did just answer those questions. I guess along with Commissioner Crowley, what I would say is, your recourse to that would be, in a court of law.
Understood.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you. And I have to say that, again, we're in a position where, we have to take the prosecutor's office is our legal counsel with regards to whether or not the law was followed. And what has been indicated by the prosecutor is that it has been. And so to me, that's the discussion. It's what the prosecutor said. And I agree with Commissioner O'Grady. There are other options to take, and I would encourage you to pursue that should you feel like that's the appropriate thing to do. I think to the applicant, I wanted to get at a couple other things that were raised that, again, I asked for cooperation in terms of hearing the residents and considering some of the things that you could, if possible. They brought up, some of the residents brought up buffering, request, setback requests, and then there was one other, I didn't write it down. Anyways, it was at least buffering and setback. And so can you tell me about the discussion and the considerations that the applicant has made with regards to some of those issues? Because those are fair things. People live there, and I think to be honest with you, just like the applicant has rights with their property and they want to develop it following the law, and so I'd say to the residents, the applicant has a right to develop that land and the way they see fit following the law. On the flip side of it, they have the right to ask for cooperation as a neighbor. That's just the right thing to do. So tell me about that discussion in the application process, and your work with the applicant. And I also understand sometimes it didn't work out, but just tell me about the process a little bit.
Sure, Commissioner, and as you know from your time on Columbus City Council, we haven't even begun the zoning process yet.
Right.
So we're gonna meet with the Civic Association, within which boundary I think we will fall. We will have a number of public hearings through the city process. We have, by request of the residents, we've met with them a number of times. As Ms. Hollingsworth pointed out, we had a meeting at the Norwich Township facility where there were a number of neighbors, and for 2 hours they gave us their opinions and thoughts and comments. We are still in the design phase of our project. We are not complete by any means. We're still working through the process. I mean, I think, up to this point on any other project that I've worked on, I mean, we've had a lot of early communication and engagement and involvement. I mean, we don't have a final plan that we've submitted for zoning. We have gone through preliminary site compliance to see what the technical aspects and elements from a city perspective are. We're looking at cost redesign factors. We're still in a design phase, so we don't have a final project yet.
Well, that's good to hear, because I just want to encourage the applicant that when you can, have the opportunity to work with the residents. And I understand you might not be able to meet their exact needs at all times, but one way or another, the project itself will make them a neighbor in one way or another and part of the community. And so I think being just considerate of what you can do will be helpful. So I appreciate that. What I hear you say, that it's still a work in progress, and they're going to continue to listen to what the residents want, and hopefully there's some medium ground. So that's just what I want to hear. Thank you, President O'Grady.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, we had speakers for 566.
That's right, Mr. President, but I do believe I have to read it into the record.
Oh, I'm sorry, please, correct.
Resolution number 56623, Review of petition to annex 6.1 acres, more or less, from Norwich Township to the City of Columbus, case number ANX-26-23. Mr. President, would you like Director
Please.
Schimmer to present, or
Please
for me to?
have Director Schimmer present.
Director Schimmer?
Thank you, Commissioners and Administration. We have attached in front of you this morning is a resolution to consider the expedited annexation of 6.1 acres, more or less, from Norwich Township to the City of Columbus. The petition case is stated as ANX-26-23. The owner is 4747 Dublin Road LLC. The site is located at 4723 Dublin Road, parcel identification number 200-00050 and 200-00203. The agent is Sean Mental. Commissioners, our review of this application shows that the total perimeter of the site is approximately 2,360 feet, approximately 1,509 feet, or 63%, is contiguous to the City of Columbus. Our analysis has shown that the applicant has met all statutory requirements outlined in Section 5709.021 of the Ohio Revised Code. The applicant has provided proof of notification and a timeline, and has provided an ordinance from the City of Columbus identifying services that will be provided once the annexation has been approved, and a statement regarding possible incompatible land uses and zoning buffer. Ordinance number 1814-2003 was passed by the City of Columbus on June 26th of 2023. Pending any questions, Commissioners, our staff at EDP would request your approval of this annexation.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have some speakers?
Yes, Ms. Hollingsworth, you'll be up first for this resolution, if you wish to still give your statement. You may begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Commissioners, and thank you, Director. I'll just take a moment. I basically told you everything I had to tell you earlier. I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to listen to us. While I understand, as Ms. Hummer said, substantial compliance, this is a lot bigger to all of us, as you can probably figure it out by now, than just substantial compliance. This is a gem of a neighborhood in your county. What is proposed, what is starting to be done right here with your action today, will substantially change an area that's been very, very strong. And we're not going to go quietly. We're not going to let any I not be dotted or any T not be crossed. We had hundreds of people sit and look at plans and were very clear about what they didn't like. And then just more than a week later, they were shown that there was still 19 buildings and there's still 25-foot setbacks, and here we are. So we certainly will be involved in the next part of the process, and we look forward to that. But we felt it's our responsibility to all of our neighbors to tell you what our concerns are, tell anyone who listens to this proceeding what our concerns are, and we're really going to fight to keep this strong neighborhood as strong as it is right now.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Toland.
Yeah, I have no further comments. I would just like to also thank the commissioners for all their time and considerations on this. And we certainly understand the situation that the statutes place you in as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. President, thank you. Before I would be happy to make this motion, I just want to say, Ms. Hollingsworth, thank you for your comments. As you should, make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, right? I think that's what you saw today is how important these things are for us, not just from a legal matter, like we want to be in compliance with the law, right, and what the law states, but making sure that all of the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed for us. And understanding that our county is changing, right? Our county is changing, a development is happening, and at the end of the day, our county can change, and we still take into consideration the voices of our residents, right? That's how our county continues to thrive. And I love the fact that I joined a board that continues to put the voices of our neighbors at the forefront. But one thing that you just said is, you know, you're going to fight to make sure that your community stays strong. I want to say it's not like if there's development that happens that it gets weak or that it's weaker, it can be even stronger with the people who are coming in, who want to be a part of that strong community because they identified that even though development is happening, this is a place that I want to live, work, and play and raise a family because of what is already there. And so and then to the other resident who, you know, gave comments, too, we really appreciate it. And I appreciate you acknowledging how our hands are tied, right? And so to the extent that we are granted by the law, we will follow that. But, you know, there is never a time that you can come to the Board of Commissioners where we're not thinking about where's the community in this. As this community continues to grow, we don't want it to be forced upon anyone. It's like in collaboration and partnership. As it says back there, in service, in progress, and in excellence. And so I just want, as we vote today to move forward and you all continue to be in this process, I want you to know that you do have friends here at the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. And as our county grows and your specific community grows, please feel free to keep us, you know, in the loop. As Commissioner Boyce said, like you know, this development should happen right along with you all hand in hand, because you definitely have a unique perspective that the developer may or may not have. And so again, thank you for your time this morning. And any other time you have some comments that you want us to know about, whether you come down or submit it in email, please feel free, because at the end of the day, we work for you.
Commissioner Boyce.
Thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Carla. I think you really just summed it up for all of us. The only thing I would add that is that this process requires your engagement and your participation, and it's not easy. You know, I was zoning chair for City Council for almost a decade, and I can tell you, people, as they should, feel passionate about their neighborhoods and community, and you have every right to want to create that in a way that it continues to be the neighborhood why you moved there, and you chose that. On the flip side of everything, development is a natural course of order in a growing community like Central Ohio. And since I've been in politics, we've been experiencing this. I mean, this Columbus, this Central Ohio that we're all in today was not the same place 10 years ago. It's certainly not 20 years ago when I served on City Council. And it won't be 10 years from now or 20 years from now. We'll see a different Central Ohio. That is a fact. And so as such, when someone purchases land, they have rights too. And I think when I was chair of zoning, it was always what is the medium? Where can we agree in the middle? And sometimes it's not always in the middle. Sometimes it's a little left or a little right. The real question becomes, can we work together? Did we work together to get the kind of resolve that makes it work for everybody? You know, I'm certain that whatever development comes about, the people who live in that community will feel just as good about that community as you do. And so the question becomes, you know, what can we do to ensure that that's an environment that we all can be a part of and feel this way about. So that being said, you're always welcome in this process to come and communicate with us. I know that process on the other side of council. I'm not sure who the zoning chair is today, but I know for a fact they will be eager to hear your comments. And they will be eager to communicate with the developer, the applicant, to say, where are you going to work? They're not going to force things because the law is the law. They've got rights too. But at the same time, they're going to see some cooperation. And the one thing I want to encourage you to ask for the applicant is, we would do this all the time, and that's good neighbor agreements. That at the end of the day, you know, you got this development. We want things though that says, hey, we're whether it's a corporate citizen too. These are the things we ask for from a good neighbor standpoint, and they're generally not off the chart things. They're reasonable things, like, you know, where the lighting points to, so that it's not disruptive to a neighbor. the type of trees that can go and be in the buffer, or all kinds of things that are a reasonable request, and maintaining that. And so I want to encourage you. And I know Mr. Mento, I know, he's been a part of this community forever. I know he cares about that stuff. And so hopefully the applicant can embrace that, because it's their choice too. But again, I just want to say there are many tools that you can use to your advantage going through the process, and I hope that's one of them. So good luck.
So I know you guys know, I live right down the street. I live in the Ridgewood neighborhood. And so 4 months ago, you guys were here. We had a similar conversation, and then 2 or 3 months ago, the engineer came, and we passed resolutions for the widening and improvement of Dublin Road. And so, I had to go home that day and explain to my wife that we're gonna widen and improve Dublin Road. And she, the first question is, well, why is that coming? Why is that gonna happen? And the answer to that question is because, not just because of this development, but because of the fact that there's gonna be more happening, I'm sure, on Dublin Road. Every time we turn around, there's something going on, there's something new coming. We live in, not only as Commissioner Crowley says, and Commissioner Boyce said, we live in a community, we live in a county, we live in the most rapidly growing place in not only Ohio, but in this part of the country. We have 1.35 million people in Franklin County, but we're projected to have another million people here. For the last number of years, we've been projected to have another million people here over the next few decades, but they're coming even more rapidly than we thought because of all the development that's going on. They are, even me as a county commissioner, didn't pay attention to the fact that they'd be moving right down the street, but they're moving right down the street, and they're gonna be moving everywhere. They're gonna be, because the construction and the building is going on everywhere you look in central Ohio. And, right, even in our own backyard. And I don't think this is gonna be the last development that's gonna happen. There's one going on right down the street, right down Davidson Road, a brand new one, right at Davidson and right there next to the fire station. And so there's more. There's another one gonna be going in on Truman here within the next, probably next month or so. So everywhere we look, there's development. We have what is now a very popular place. And so, it is, it's just, it is the fact of being a resident in this community, in this county. But it is good to see that you guys are so diligent and so aware of your surroundings and what's happening. I don't think this is the last time we'll probably see each other. I don't know if how many of you've noticed, but they just striped Dublin Road, part of Dublin Road, not all of it. I think Cornell was the one that was responsible for striping parts of Dublin Road, and the parts of Dublin Road that didn't get striped were likely in the city of Columbus or the city of Hilliard. Because as you drive down Dublin Road, some of it's in Franklin County in the township, some of it's in the city of Hilliard, some of it's in the city of Columbus, and only the township is the part that got striped. So interesting, but you drive down Dublin Road and there's some really nice, fresh, new paint, and then there's some places where there's no paint. And so my wife noticed that, and she's like, "Why did this not all get striped?" I'm like, "Honey, you know the answer to that question." So anyway, but the point is we all need to be very diligent all the time, and so it's great to know that you guys are that. But we are. I'm sorry. Mr. Lambert did just join us. If we'd like to hear from him.
Mr. Lambert, if you're available to speak.
Mr. Lambert's the fiscal officer for Norwich Township.
Mr. Lambert?
Are you unmuted?
Mr. Lambert, can you try and speak, please? You are unmuted now.
Well, want to give him one more opportunity? Going once, going twice? All right.
Right.
Let's, do we need to read, we've read them both into the record?
Correct,
All right,
Mr.
you
President,
wanna
so we can go back to the first one for
Go
a
ahead and
vote.
make a motion on 565.
All right, since there are no additional comments or questions, I move for approval of Resolution 565-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 565-23 has been adopted.
All right, since there are no additional comments on 566-23, I move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 566-23 has been adopted.
I thank everybody for their time and their interest and their concern and spending as much time this morning as we needed to be able to get through all of this.
Thank you.
I'm guessing we're going to have some more conversations about this, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the purchasing resolution.
Resolution number 573-23, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $517,328.62.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Perry Balanier, Director of Purchasing, and joining me is Tamika Bumper, Economic Equity Administrator for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This resolution requests your approval of 36 purchase orders for which the county auditor has pre-certified available funding. Tamika has the supplier diversity data for this week. Good morning, Tamika.
Good morning. 2 of the purchase orders being presented today are awarded to small emerging businesses totaling $47,500. 1% is being awarded to small emerging businesses and 1% is being awarded to women-owned businesses. Once approved, 2 agencies have provided equitable and inclusive opportunities to small businesses this week. Those include the Child Support Enforcement Agency and Human Resources. Pending any questions, we request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for approval of Resolution 573-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 573-23 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. All right, now to the Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 574-23, resolution authorizing a COVID-19 recovery grant agreement with the Columbus Franklin County Finance Authority for the North Market Mixed-Use Project and the addition of affordable housing units in the amount of $39,900,000.
Good late morning, Commissioners. Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. I'm here this morning to present to the board the Merchant Building Project, which is a public-private partnership to create a new mixed-use development at the site of the historic North Market in the heart of Franklin County. The City of Columbus, the county, and the state are all participating in the project, which is expected to result in more than a $400 million investment in our community. The Columbus Franklin County Finance Authority has been a trusted partner created by the county and city in 2006 to foster economic development projects like the one is being recommended to the board today. The county is entering into this agreement with the Finance Authority to manage and be the fiduciary agent for all government entities working in collaboration with the developers, building upon the success created by past and future events like ASAE, ICMA, PCMA, the U.S. Conference of Mayors, the 2024 U.S. Figure Skating Championships, and of course, the return of the Women's Final Four in 2027. And the most recent announcement is landing the American Legion Council in 2028. There will be surely several new opportunities that will be announced in the years to come with the momentum we have. Investments like this in our community move us up within our competitive set of cities we measure ourselves against for the billions of dollars to be spent in the travel and tourism business, which primarily is outside visitors coming into our community and enjoying it. The project, of course, will be a major job creator in this community. It's expected to create approximately 1,900 construction jobs or around 650 per year, and up to 1,100 total new permanent jobs in the community. This project has diversity, equity, and economic inclusiveness built into several components. This project has an aspirational goal of 30% SBE participation. The Franklin County workforce training component is built into it and directed at county residents earning 200% of poverty or less. Committed participation in the county-sponsored Building Futures program, and Experience Columbus's Diversity Apprenticeship or a similar program. The county will receive 5.25% of gross revenues from the new parking structure to be built, about $100,000 annually, to be invested in additional workforce programs for our county residents for a period of 15 years. And a framework will be created for a Franklin County Apprenticeship Fund and Destination Concept. The county will invest in the creation of 15 workforce housing units, 10 of which will be at 80% of area median income, 5 will be at 100% of area median income for a period of not less than 10 years. The county will also invest in the creation of 35 affordable units that will be at an average of 60% of the area median income or below for a period of 20 years. In closing, I would like to thank the hardworking team of the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office, Janine Hummer, Robin Moorhead, and Brianna Morris, and Emmett Kelly of Frost Brown Todd for working with me for countless hours, providing excellent legal counsel. I would also like to thank our public affairs team, Zach Telerik, our OMB director, and other Team Franklin County members. Commissioners, this is a very important project to Franklin County and our community. And pending any questions, I will respectfully recommend passage of this resolution. And we have our legal counsel here to answer any technical questions regarding the capital lease structure that is proposed with the Columbus Franklin County Finance Authority.
President
Commissioner
O'Leary.
Crowley.
Thank you. Thank you, Administrator Wilson. As I said last week during briefing, I'm excited about this program. I made some comments and said I would reserve them for today. And then after doing, 3 interviews last week on this, I think it's important to highlight, as we just talked about development, right? And development happening here in Franklin County, and being able to support that at all levels, right? But one of the things that we continue to invest in is affordable housing, and a significant amount of money for this project is ARPA dollars. And I was asked about ARPA and the use of those dollars, and I said in one interview that we are still recovering from a pandemic. We have not fully recovered. We know that hospitality and tourism industry was hit hardest during the pandemic. The ARPA guidance allows for investment in travel and tourism. It allows for investment in small businesses. When we think about the North Market, most of the merchants are women and minority-owned businesses. This is an allowable use for that. We are able to invest in workforce. And so what this project is jobs, housing, and opportunity, right? And so outside of just the affordable housing units that'll be located in the North Market, there is a 35 additional, as Administrator Wilson pointed out, that will be here in Franklin County. And when it comes to this project, people should be able to live, work, and play. We know that with the North Market, people who want to be a merchant should be able to be a merchant and live there too. If you work in the restaurant that's there and you are a service worker, you should be able to live there too. You should be able to see yourself in that in the growth of the North Market, and I love the fact that that is embedded in here. I think the other thing that Administrator Wilson didn't really touch upon, but is important, is the revenue that's coming from the parking structure, right? That will go right back into workforce development program. And when we think about Building Futures, you know that's our flagship workforce development program, but Experience Columbus and dealing in hospitality is really making sure that those who are underrepresented or minority women and Black and brown individuals who historically have not been able to see themselves in middle management in hospitality can now see themselves in that and have a pathway forward into the middle class. And so, you know, I just want to say that this investment is in the past, is investing in the past of the North Market and some of the things that continue to be the elephant in the room with that site, the present and the merchants that are there, and the people who come from all over to go to the North Market, and those residents who live here, but also the future. And as Administrator Wilson said, you know, when it came to the American Legion, I was with the mayor as we pitched the American Legion for the 2027 conference, and we didn't get it. But the commander who's over it, when we went to pitch 2 months ago in Indiana, the first thing he said is, you know, I'm coming back to North Market. He had Jenny's ice cream. So every time he's here, he goes to Jenny's ice cream. And that he had to tell everybody in the room about the North Market. And that's what we want. Like, so when they come in 2028, because we did win that bid and that proposal, they are looking forward to going to the North Market. And that is what this is all about. We have something great here. We, you know, want to be a destination city, destination county, and this will help us get there. And so not only are we not an apprenticeship fund, it is an entrepreneurship fund that will be created, and a destination fund. So people who want to be merchants, who want to open a business, will be able to do that. Just like Marty, who has the flower shop that's been there 30 years. 30 years she's been there. You know, or Hoya's, who was able to expand his business for his family, and now is not just in the North Market, but like 4 other locations. Now, like, that matters. That just really has an impact here in Franklin County, and is when people go and spend their dollars, it comes right back into our economy. And so, yes, we are we care about sales tax here, and the city cares about income tax, but we care about the people more than anything, and opportunity. And so I'm excited to support the past, present, and future of the North Market in Franklin County.
So, Administrator Wilson gave, you know, a number of reasons why this is a great project, and Commissioner Crowley just gave several dozen reasons why this is a great project, and it really is. But, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether this is a project that helps to set Franklin County and Columbus apart, like Administrator Wilson indicated, and it is. It's a fantastic project that helps to elevate Columbus and Franklin County and set us apart and put us on the map and put us on a trajectory to be one of the counties and one of the cities that puts us, you know, in that mindset of you know, beyond some of those in our competitive set, or it's one of the developments and the redevelopments that helps us to help the small businesses and help the you know, with housing and help with all the things that Commissioner Crowley highlighted and emphasized in her comments. You know, but at the end of the day, for me, what it is it's another example of the investments that we make in Franklin County and that we've continued to make over the last decade and a half, that are transformational investments, that are investments that have a huge return on investment, that allow us to continue to, one, invest in our community and raise the level of who we are and what we do, but also allow us to invest in this community and bring back the return on investment that allow us to do what we need to do in all the agencies that Joy Bivens represents, that allow us to reinvest in our residents every day, that allow us to bring back dollars into this community, into the coffers of Franklin County government, that allow us to do the types of things that we on this panel spend all of our days, all of our waking days and our waking hours thinking about, and that you, as the employees of Franklin County, spend all of your days doing so well every day, representing the people on the back wall of this room that say every resident every day, and that we're all about service, progress, and excellence. You know, this is, you know, what Mr. Blue Sky's Jim Shimmer is all about, you know, when, you know, as our economic development director. You know, this is one of those projects that we've done over the years, things like when we invest in, you know, stuff like, you know, the President's Cup, you know, in golf years ago, when people said, why is the Franklin County Commissioners investing in professional golf? Because it had a huge return on investment. Why are Franklin County Commissioners investing in the Hockey All-Star Game? Because there was a huge return on investments. Why are the county commissioners buying an arena? Because there's a huge return on investments. Why are the Franklin County Commissioners investing in a soccer stadium? Because there's a huge return on investment. Why are the Franklin County Commissioners doing this or doing that? Because there's a gigantic return on investment. And it allows us to then continue to invest in the residents of Franklin County every day. And that's what we do and why we do it and why we do these things. And there's a guy sitting over here to our left that has the vision on projects like these that helps us, you know, see this type of work for what it is. Ken Wilson's been helping lead these type of things, these type of investments for years. And so thank you to our administrator for constantly seeing the wisdom in doing these type of projects that not only help to grow our community and help to, you know, continue to push this community forward and set us apart from an economic development standpoint, but also help to allow for those dollars to come back into Franklin County's coffers and reinvest in the families and the kids and the people that need us the most. So thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes,
President O'Grady, and maybe if the council can speak to this. Because I want to be clear, and it was a question that came up in a couple of the interviews, like the county's not writing a blank check, right? There are some actions that are tied to payments, but then also a third-party enforcer, like agreement that the county can absolutely step into the shoes of the finance authority. And so for our information, but the public's information, if you all, whoever, want to talk to or speak to the funding and how, and you don't have to get way deep in the details, but there's some things that have to be met in order for payments to go out. And I think there's like 5 things. There's a timeline. It is very delineated. But then also, if you could speak to that, but speak to our ability to move into the shoes and act on behalf of the finance authority if some things don't happen.
Sure, Commissioner Crawley, I'd be happy to answer that question for you. Our agreement with the Columbus Franklin County Finance Authority is broken into 5 payments. Each of those payments requires specific deliverables to be met by both the developer for the North Market project and the finance authority if appropriate. So for instance, for the payment number 3 to be made, they have to deliver the framework for workforce training, which will then be implemented after the completion of the project. So that's just making sure that they're staying on track, that their goals stay aligned with the county's goals. And then with respect to your question about the third-party enforcement rights, the finance authority is entering into a capital lease structure with the developer. All of the county's requirements are built into those capital lease structures, to that capital lease structure. So that way the finance authority can guarantee that the developer is meeting all of those county requirements as well. If for any reason the developer is unable to meet those requirements or fails to meet those requirements, we are able to step into the shoes of the finance authority and enforce that contract as if we were a party to those leases.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also forgot the financing the Hilton. Sorry about that. Thank you, Commissioner, for your question and your comments.
Yeah, there's been
Administrator Wilson.
I'd just like to add, these type of projects, as you noted, President O'Grady, Commissioner Crawley, Commissioner Boyce, they are important because we promote economic development, and you all further push us to come up with innovative ways for economic inclusion and economic mobility. And I will say, as county administrator, you all have sharpened my focus since at least 2018 to make sure that as the county grow, we look at a way that it has every resident, everyday mindset as far as that county residents in all the zip codes benefiting, because it impacts their health, it impacts their opportunity for shelter, and it gives us the financial abilities to support our health and human services agencies that you all are focused on improving every day, be it the Office on Aging, be it Job and Family Services, be it Justice Policy and Programs, Child Support Enforcement, I go on, the Rise Together Blueprint to reducing poverty. We will remain focused on all of those things, and we will intersect our work as it relates to how we promote economic development, but how we also promote the social welfare and ensure that we also promoting social justice. So all of those things are in our DNA today, and I think it will stay there for years to come.
Fantastic. Thank you.
But people should see this as, if you want to do business with the county, this type of public-private partnership, that it should look like something similar like this. So let this be the blueprint for others who want to do development. If there are no additional comments or questions, I will move for approval of Resolution 574-23.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce. Resolution number 574-23 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
Madam Clerk, do we have any journalizations today?
We do, we have one. Case number ANX-27-23, an expedited type 2 annexation petition, ANX-27-23, was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on July 7th, 2023. The petition is requesting to annex 22.7 acres from Prairie Township to the city of Columbus. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on August 8th, 2023. The site is Galloway Road, PID number 240-000192.
All right. Now we have a resolution under the Board of Commissioners.
No, those are for the following session. They're not, okay.
You're going to read the, for executive.
One second.
No, I'm sorry. I'll read that journal.
We have two more journalizations, so that
Oh.
was, my apologies,
No,
Mr.
you
President.
said- you said-
You said
That's
one.
right.
Yeah.
That's right, that's on me. Thank you.
Not a type, not another type.
Thank you. Everyone needs a deputy clerk, so, thank you. Case number ANX-28-23, an expedited type 2 annexation petition, ANX-28-23, was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on July 12th, 2023. The petition is requesting to annex 1.37 acres from Madison Township to the city of Columbus. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on August 22nd, 2023. The site is 4500 Gender Road, PID number 181-000-576. And finally, case number ANX-29-23, an expedited type 2 annexation petition, ANX-29-23, was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on July 12th, 2023. The petition is requesting to annex 0.9 acres from Truro Township to the city of Reynoldsburg. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on August 22nd, 2023. The site is 1769 Lancaster Avenue, PID number 263-002404. Now I am finished with the journalizations.
Now, to the Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 576-23, resolution of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners to convene into executive session for the purpose of considering personnel matters.
Move to convene into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 576-23 has been adopted to convene into executive session.